Every leader wants a high-performing team. That is not the hard part. The hard part is building one that sustains that level without the people inside it quietly falling apart, because that is what is happening in most organizations right now. The results look good on paper. The targets are being hit, and underneath all of it, people are running on empty, disconnected, exhausted, going through the motions, and the leader has no idea because nobody is saying it out loud. So let me make this extremely clear from the start. Burnout is not a personal failure. It is a systems failure. When someone burns out, it is not because they were not strong enough or committed enough. It is because the environment they were operating in was extracting more than it was returning. That is a leadership problem, which means it is also a leadership solution. The foundation of any team that performs at a high level without destroying itself is psychological safety. And I do not mean a policy on a wall or a value listed in the company handbook. I mean the lived daily experience of being able to speak honestly about what is working, what is not, what you do not know, and what you need, without fear of judgment or consequence. Google spent years studying what separated their best teams from their average ones. The answer was not talent. It was not process. It was this. When people feel genuinely safe to be honest, performance follows. Because when they cannot speak, problems do not disappear. They go underground. And underground problems compound quietly until they surface as crises that nobody saw coming, even though the signs were there all along. Woven directly into that safety is the need for meaning. Not just clarity on the goals, clarity on the why behind them. There is a profound difference between a team that knows what they are working toward and a team that understands why it matters. The brain sustains effort differently when the work is connected to something significant. Dopamine, the neurochemical of drive, is not just released when you achieve something. It is released while you are moving towards something that feels genuinely worth moving toward. A team without that connection is running on obligation, and obligation always runs out, meaning does not. What most high-performance cultures get completely wrong is recovery. The belief that rest is the opposite of performance is one of the most damaging myths in modern business. Rest is not the opposite of performance, it is the foundation of it. The body and brain operate in cycles, push without recovery, and performance does not just plateau, it degrades, rapidly, and in ways that are not always visible until the damage is already done. The best teams in the world are not the ones that work the hardest. They are the ones that recover the most intelligently. Building recovery into the culture is not softness, it is sophistication. Alongside recovery sits emotional intelligence, and specifically, the capacity to feel and process emotions rather than suppress and perform through them. In most corporate environments, emotion is treated as a liability, something to be managed, minimized, left at the door. But emotions are not the enemy of performance. They are information. Anger signals a crossed boundary. Anxiety signals the mind is racing ahead of what is actually happening. Exhaustion signals the body has been giving more than it has been receiving. When people are taught to read those signals, to name what they are feeling and understand what it is asking of them, they make better decisions, communicate with more honesty, and recover from setbacks faster. A team with genuine emotional intelligence is not a soft team. It is an extraordinarily resilient one. And then there is the conversation that nobody talks about, the one happening inside each person's head when nobody else is listening, because that conversation determines everything. The team member who wakes up on Monday thinking, I cannot do this anymore, is not going to perform the same as the one who wakes up thinking, this is hard and I am built for hard things. The stories people tell themselves about their role, their capacity, their value, those stories shape the biology of how they show up. As a leader, you cannot control those internal conversations, but you influence them every single day. Through the way you speak to people, through the feedback you give, through the standard you model in how you talk about your own challenges and your own growth. Culture is not what you declare, it is what you demonstrate. And underneath all of it, holding everything together, is connection. Not the manufactured kind, the real kind. High-performing teams are not just groups of skilled individuals pointed in the same direction. They are people who genuinely trust each other, who know each other beyond the job title. who have enough relational depth that when things get hard, and they always get hard, they move toward each other rather than away. That trust is not built in a team building day or a quarterly offsite. It is built in the small, consistent moments of genuine attention, the question asked with real curiosity, the acknowledgement given without agenda. The leader who notices when someone is struggling and says something, not because it is in the management handbook, but because they actually care. A high-performing team is not a machine. It is a living system. And like any living system, it needs the right conditions to thrive. Safety, meaning, recovery, emotional intelligence, a healthy inner culture, real human connection. Remove any one of those, and performance becomes fragile. Build all of them, and something remarkable happens. The team stops needing to be managed and starts managing itself. People hold each other to a standard not because they are told to, but because they respect each other enough to want to. That is not built with a strategy. That is built with culture. And culture starts with you, not with the policy, not with the process, with you. This is Michael Abdullah.